right, guys, we got to listen to this.
He said that the biggest weakness on the defending Super Bowl champion was, wait for it, the Super Bowl MVP. They said it was the passing game that was the weakness.
Now, it's ridiculous. If you've seen the passing game in the Super Bowl, in both Super Bowls, it clearly wasn't a weakness. Clearly.
Of the Eagles. So, it's not that hard to look up some stats on the Pro Football Focus website. And, let me give you some stats here. This is the Super Bowl MVP last year, passing, which is the biggest weakness, from the pocket. Here's Jalen Hurts. Second in completion percentage, third in passing yards per game, and then passer rating fifth.
This is exactly what I'm talking about, is people are so focused that they were the 30th ranked passing offense in the regular season. It's football. You're winning every game. You're not playing from behind. You're closing out games in the second half by running the ball. And you're a run-first offense. It doesn't mean you can't pass. You just don't have to. You pass a lot of times. For example, Joe Burrow was constantly behind because his defense stunk. So he had to put up crazy numbers. But people get so sucked into those stats as if the stats are what make a quarterback great. It's not.
I think that should be yards per attempt. But bottom line is, it's not like this is a dink and dunk offense. We know that the top four guys are Mahomes, Josh Allen's a reigning MVP, Lamar's got 2 MVPs, and Joe Burrow went to a Super Bowl.
Now listen, I believe that top four is going to change over the next couple of years. I believe after Jalen Hurts wins another Super Bowl, he's going to move up, maybe another 2 Super Bowls. He's going to move up in people's opinion.
It's the consensus top 4. I don't see why this isn't a consensus top 5. It doesn't make sense. Jalen Hurts has to be 5th. You can make a case for Stafford, but he hasn't been to the Super Bowl twice, okay? He hasn't. And that's what Hurts has done in a short time span. People want to push Jaden Daniels in there. I'm like, guys, 1 year, 1 season?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, people want to push Jaden. I'm a big fan of Jaden Daniels. I think he's going to be a good quarterback for a long time, and he's clutch. He's got the clutch gene, which to me is a must-have in a quarterback. But you can't put him after 1 rookie season as the top quarterback. You can't. You just can't. But he was a first-round pick, so you got that first-round biasness that when you're a first-round pick, people are willing to say you're great, even if you have great players around you, whatever, like Joe Burrow. People will not hold the fact that he has 2 great wide receivers and had a great running back with him most of his career in Mixon. You won't hear, oh, Joe Burrow has great players around. No, you're not going to hear that. But you will hear that when the player is not a first-round pick for, like, say, Brock Purdy or, Jalen Hurts, obviously. But the bottom line is this, guys. Jalen Hurts passing is just fine. Now, is he the best passer? I'm not going to say that, no. But in my opinion, he's in the top 10 in passing, not quarterback, passing. He can drop dimes in the Super Bowl. We've seen it twice now. I mean, well, what more do you need to see? I don't know why people just don't want to accept what their eyes plainly see. You see him as a dual threat quarterback, passing, running, QB sneaking, whatever he's got to do to win. He doesn't turn the ball over very much either. 1 turnover in the Super Bowl cost him. Fluke play. But, that's that. He's played some of the best Super Bowls I've ever seen, to be honest with you. He just has. And, to me, I love the clutch gene that Jalen Hurts has. So, the say that the Eagles' biggest weakness is their passing game is the dumbest take I've ever heard in my entire life. That's not the biggest weakness. When you have DeVonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, and A.J. Brown, the best offensive line we've seen in 25 years, and Jalen Hurts, you can throw the ball. They've proven that when it matters, when they need to, they will drop dimes and throw the ball, and they will tear it up. There is no weakness on the Eagles' offense right now. There's just not. In fact, if you're going to ask me what the weakness is, it's on the defensive side of the ball after some of these losses. You lost Darius Slay. You lost C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Now, how do the replacements pick up for that? That's where I'm worried about the weakness. N'Kobe Dean's hurt. Is he coming back? Those are, to me, the weaknesses lie on the defensive side of the ball. And of course, the Eagles address those weaknesses after some of their key losses. But how do those replacements work out? That's the question for the Eagles. The problem is not passing the ball. The Eagles could sling it with anybody. They just don't need to, because nobody can stop that run game. And if you could run the ball, why do you need to throw the ball? A lot more goes wrong on a passing play than on a running play. Your quarterback gets sacked, he gets hurt, ball gets tipped, or receiver drops the ball, whatever. But the Eagles, when they need to, they will sling it with anybody. So this take that the biggest weakness for the Eagles is the passing game, to me, just makes me feel like whoever's making that take doesn't really understand football. It's not the offense. And you're too focused on stats. Oh, the 30th ranked passing game. They didn't need to throw constantly. Doesn't mean they can't. It doesn't mean they can't. You can throw all you want. It doesn't win you Super Bowls. Joe Burrow hasn't won a Super Bowl yet. Joe Burrow didn't even make the playoffs, and look at his passing stats. They were fantastic last year. If he made the playoffs, he probably would have been the MVP. That's how good they were. But it didn't win him anything. A lot of passing stats come because you're losing, because you're down, because you need to score, because you have to make up ground. So all this stuff is crap. The Eagles don't have a weakness on offense. Their concerns are on defense right now. That's the bottom line. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think down below. I'll talk to you later.
'Cause that's the bottom line. 'Cause Stone Cold said so.